Hi, everybody. Leon Thomas here with Miranda Kitterlin Lynch. We're here for another episode of Checking In a Lodging DEI Chat. Hi, Miranda. How are you?
Hi, Leon. I'm great. How are you?
Oh, everything is rocking and rolling and groovy. All is good. Yeah.
Awesome.
Here for another episode of Checking In, and you probably know the question that I'm going to pose
You don't even have to
right
ask.
now. I
I'm
don't even have
ready.
to ask. Okay.
Episode 61.
Episode 61.
Yes.
I'll give that a thumbs up and a right on. Yes.
And we have a legend today as our
A
guest.
legend. A
Yes.
legend is our guest today. All right. Well, let's bring our legend right on to the show. Let's bring our legend right on to the show.
Hi, Peggy. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Hey, Miranda. Hey, Leon.
Hi, Peggy.
So instead of introducing our guest, what I like to do is the same thing that I do in the classroom. I like to have our guest manage their own first impression by telling our listeners who you are and what you do.
My name is Peggy Berg. I've been in the hotel business for a long time as a consultant, as a professor, as a hotel owner, and as a leader of a nonprofit called the Castell Project that's now part of the AHLA Foundation. So happy to be part of this business and glad to be here.
Yay. And that's actually how I got to know you first. I saw you speaking at an ICRE regional conference in Auburn, I think it was, many years ago,
Yeah.
pre-pandemic. Um,
Uh-huh.
and I've been so fortunate to have Castell panels, or now forward panels, in my classroom ever since then. It's been so great. But for those who are not familiar with Castell, would you like to share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we noticed, both women and men in this business noticed that women weren't moving into leadership, although we were getting to be a larger and larger part of kind of lower level management and always a majority of the employees in the industry and a big majority of the people that were booking the industry, our clients. So we started asking ourselves why and how do we open up the industry so that more women can move into leadership roles. And Castell Project was a nonprofit formed just exactly to do that. We had a wonderful board of directors. We had terrific support from the industry, from universities, from the AHLA, from AHOA, and from many, many companies. And it's actually made a big difference. I'm proud to say that the work that Castell did has opened the industry not just to more women in leadership, but to more people of color in leadership. It's just a stronger business as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure that many of the people listening right now will refer to the reports that Castell published regarding the statistics related to people of color and women in the industry. Leon, I think you and I even used one of those reports to write our article for Hotel News Now. So,
Yeah, we did. We did. And one of the things, Becky, that you mentioned is that when group, one group of people, in this case women, when they advance and are given opportunities, it happens for others too, right? And so often we think we're out here on islands by ourselves, but we all need to work together, right? The blacks in the industry that want to provide more opportunities for those of color, for those other minority groups, we need to work together and support what you're doing to make things better for women. And one of the things that I've noticed is that there are some organizations that seem to be want to stay out there by themselves and not understand the importance of partnerships, how what works and helps others can help you too. Can you talk some of that about the importance of that?
I think that opening up the industry is something that the industry in general has supported, and the sort of institutional habits that were holding women back are the same institutional habits that were holding people of color back and others back, but also the things within ourselves, the skills that women needed to learn and the skills that people of color need to learn in order to move up in the industry, those are also the same skills. So I think the same kind of programming and the same kind of awareness that helps on one side helps on all sides. And honestly, if you're a plain old white guy and you want to move up in the hospitality industry, you need the same skills and you need the same opportunities to be open to you. So I think it's a pretty broad-based set of things that we learn as management and that we learn as people growing in the industry. And Miranda knows this from her classroom.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would tell my students prior to having the Castell panels come speak in the classroom, you know, the things that are going to be discussed here are not just women's issues, right? Because everybody needs time management, work-life balance, talking about how to ask for promotions, best tips for interviews, right? These are universal needs, right? So, yeah.
You know, I had the most kind of eye-opening experience. I was walking a dog with a friend of mine through a beautiful park by a river, and he was working for a hospitality company in security. And, you know, we're walking along talking, and he's talking to me about the frustrations, and and I thought, oh, I know the answer to this. This is what we teach at Castell. And he's talking to me about career challenges. And I was like, oh, I know the answer to this. This is what we teach in Castell. So it's pretty universal. I think there's much more awareness now from people who want to elevate their careers of what they need to do, whoever we are. And I'm proud that we've been able to provide some of that, I guess, motivation and some of that eye-opening. And the same thing on the corporate side.
I want to say something. You mentioned earlier, you said the plain old white guy, right?
All right, a plain old white guy.
I had a friend last week call me who's a plain old white guy, right? And he said, I want to get information on NABhood, right? And I said, why do you want information on NABhood? And he said, because I looked at their agenda, the NABhood conference agenda. He said, and I want to attend some of the things that they taught, some of the things that they discussed would help me too in my goal to become a hotel owner. And I said, oh, great, great, great. So I gave him Andy Ingram's information and all. And he used the term, he said, I know I'm just a plain old white guy, but like right on. So that's twice now within a week I've been hit with plain old white guy. So maybe that's a thing.
We love our white guy.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, I have two things that I'd like to ask you, but let me start with the first. It is inevitable that when we talk about DEI, representation, making space for other people to enter, someone's going to think to themselves, it's 2024, we don't have those problems anymore. I don't think that to myself. What would your response to that be?
You know, I've been watching the media cover the presidential election, and they're having a really hard time. And they've been thinking about DEI for a long time, but in their phrasing, in their presentations, in the assumptions that underlie what they say, they're adjusting. And it's been, 8 years since they went through it with Hillary, and they're still trying to get it sorted out. Whichever side you're on, they're still having trouble getting it sorted out. So if at the level of the national media, they're still having trouble, the rest of us, back here on Main Street running businesses, we're still learning. And the teachers in our school systems are still learning, and the people in our communities of faith are still learning. We're growing, and I don't think you can expect this kind of a transition to, you don't just wave a wand and change culture. Culture is really embedded, and culture develops over time, not just for this, for everything. And we're moving along a path.
Yeah, definitely. Especially a topic that's so complex and with terminology that changes rapidly as well, right? So the learning, I think, never really ends, nor should it. So let me switch gears just a little bit. And I want to talk to you about the transition from the Castell project to Forward.
Oh, yes. So the HNLA, and I'm so pleased they did this, had the wonderful idea that they would focus in this area with their foundation, which is their nonprofit arm. And it was a few years ago, they allocated a substantial amount of money to it. They started developing programming. And as they looked around the industry, they saw Castell, and they decided that it would be more effective to move established programs from Castell into the foundation and build them from there than it would be to start from scratch. And we thought that too. I mean, we're a bootstrap nonprofit. We don't need to be competing with a very large institution that has a substantial, talented, skilled, paid professional staff. So our build and elevate leadership development programs for women are now within the HNLA Foundation, and they've scaled them. They're doing a terrific job with them. They took the research that Castell Project was publishing every year, and now it's being produced by Penn State. So you should appreciate it has an academic imprimatur upon it, which is wonderful. And they're doing a terrific job up there. And then the Castell at College, which was our outreach to students, they're doing the different aspects of that program. They've absorbed them in different ways. So we're not doing panels of women in the schools, but the HNLA has full-time paid professional staff working between the industry and the hospitality programs in the schools. And they're also working very actively with Rachel Humphrey and Lan Elliott and the other folks at the Hospitality Alliance to train women for the podium, to train women to get out in public and build their image. So great things all around.
Yeah, absolutely. Leon?
Folks, you're watching Checking In, a Lodging DEI chat. I'm Leon Thomas with co-host Miranda Kitterlin-Lynch. Our guest today is Peggy Berg. We'll be back to continue our conversation with Peggy. Right now, we're going to take a quick break and take a look at some commercials that the students, interns, and recent grads at the Leon Thomas Group have produced. You're watching Checking In, a Lodging DEI chat.
Announcing the newest show from the Leon Thomas Group, Cooking with Kids in the Kitchen.
Each week, we're going to have kids on the show in their home kitchen, showing us their culinary expertise right here on Cooking with Kids in the Kitchen. If you know of a kid that would be great to have on Cooking with Kids in the Kitchen, contact Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group.
His email address is leon@theleonthomasgroup.com.
That's leon@theleonthomasgroup.com.
Cooking with Kids in the Kitchen.
Baked by Brianna has been your Baltimore hometown bakery since 1969. Located in Roxton Plaza, Baked by Brianna. Visit bakedbybrianna.io.
At Rod's Car Repairs, we work on all cars, old cars, new cars, and your car. Car Repairs by Rod.io.
Hi, it's Robin from LTG Radio reminding you that the holiday shopping season is just a few months away. But you don't have to wait until December to start your shopping. You can do it now by going to whywaitshopnow.biz. That's whywaitshopnow.biz. There's no need to wait. Go to whywaitshopnow.biz. Start now on that Christmas shopping list. And now, back to more LTG Radio.
Welcome back to Checking In a Lodging DEI Chat. Again, those commercials were all produced by students, interns, recent grads of Leon Thomas Group. If we can help you with any advertising, send me an email. My email address is leon@the Leon Thomas Group. You can check out our website at theleonthomasgroup.com. You can listen to Checking In a Lodging DEI Chat on your favorite podcast network. Wherever you listen to podcasts, we're probably there. You can check it out. Miranda, tell me your husband is still listening to the podcast.
Yes, I know that he's still listening because I get in trouble when I talk about him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. Whoa. We don't want you to get in trouble. Don't talk about him. No, don't talk about. Now we have to go back through all the shows, and anything you talked about that was bad about your husband, you have to edit them all out. Then he can listen to them again. But folks, you can listen to everything right there. You can also go to the Leon Thomas Group's website, theleonthomasgroup.com. Click on listen, and you can listen to all the shows that we produce right there. We're talking to Peggy Berg, our guest today on Checking In a Lodging DEI Chat. Peggy, Miranda, here's something that I noticed growing up in the business, and I also had a career in sports, and I also run a youth racquetball program here in Baltimore, and that is folks that don't have girls as children.
Me, I have only boys.
Okay. I have some friends, and there are some parents that I've worked with in the past that would say, well, the girls need to be over here. The girls can't do this. But those that have girls as children, some of the dads proudly call themselves, I'm a girl dad, and my girl can do it all. Right. And as a coach, yes, they can. Yes, I want them to do everything. And when I worked in the hotel business, I did the same thing. Right, with minorities, I did the same thing with women. Yes, you can. Yes, why can't you? Tell me why. So often I hear folks say that they can't, or others don't give an opportunity. Kind of long-winded to say, what needs to happen to get everybody to recognize that everybody deserves that opportunity, that chance, and that those that think they can't, they really can get things done.
You know, I guess with Castell, we thought we couldn't fix everything. So we asked ourselves, what are the pieces of this where we can actually have an influence and we can change what goes on? And we noticed that for women, and I think probably for other minorities, one thing that happens is that we ourselves make an assumption that we may not be welcome or we may not be able to do something. And so how do we simply open people's eyes to the idea that they can compete or they can do something? And then on the other side, we were seeing women saying, well, I can do that. Give me the job, and not understanding why they were not getting the opportunity. And sometimes it was because they didn't know what they were missing. They didn't know what aspect of preparation they didn't have. So those were kind of the two sides we worked on. The one side that it sounds like you're doing with your sports team, simply saying, yeah, you can give it a shot. Open your eyes to the opportunity. And then on the other side to say, well, okay, now that your eyes are open to the opportunity, let's get honest about what little skills may you not have gotten. Now, it could be that those skills are something that are built automatically into the training that we provide to our wealthier kids, or they're built automatically into the training that we provide our male kids. And so if you're dealing with women, or you're dealing with minorities, or you're dealing with people who are financially disadvantaged, let's help them see what skills they need to pick up. They're not impossible, but they're real. And then if you're dealing with people who really, we tell this story about talking to a student, and the student had a long-term college student goal of becoming a front desk supervisor. And we're like, well, wait a minute, why don't you want to be the GM? Why do you only think that your opportunity is to be the front desk supervisor? I think they just hadn't thought about it. So anyway, those were the two sides that we thought we could have impact. And I think those are the places where all of us as individuals can have a really positive impact, and it's not such a heavy lift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think another thing that that Castell did and that Ford does is the messaging. I think messaging is incredibly important, especially when there's a lack of representation. So perhaps this person had not envisioned themselves as a GM because maybe they didn't see anybody that looked like them in a GM role. I am a girl mom. My husband is a proud girl dad. The moment we found out we were having a daughter, he went and bought a book on how to braid hair. And we are also very inclusive. And I say this to say messaging, I think, is important in every aspect of your life. I tell my daughters all the time, girls and boys can do whatever, right? Color doesn't have gender, right? So you want to wear something blue? Fine. If dad wants to wear a pink shirt, fine. There's no such thing. Toys don't have gender. Activities don't have gender. Jobs don't have gender. So hopefully I'm pounding it into them, if not a little extreme.
But I mean, I have a 1-year-old grandson. He has a truck toy. He has blocked toys. He has some stuffed animals. He doesn't have any dolls. And I don't know if he'd like to play with dolls or not, but nobody got him one. And this is not a child who is lacking for a wide variety of toys. Mm-hmm. It's just what we do.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Even at racquetball, I had a kid on a few days ago that wanted to play with the pink racquetball.
Uh-huh.
And I said, yeah, here, let's go. And his dad said, that's a girl's ball. I said, no, it's a racquetball.
Right.
All right. And later I asked the boy, why do you want to play with the pink ball? It has a more unique bounce to it. It's unpredictable on the bounce. I said, what? It's the same ball. He said, no, it's not. Watch. And he tried to get me to think that the pink ball was not as consistent as the blue one, which made it a more fun game for him to play.
All right.
Right. And I said, okay, I'll go with it. And I still went to the dad and said, Dad, it's a racquetball. Let him play with the racquetball. Stop. Shut up.
I love it. Are we about at that time where we get to bombard Peggy with our signature questions?
We are. It is that time. Peggy, please grab a pen. And if you don't have a pen, pretend that you do.
I have a pen.
All right. Hold it right up here to the camera, right to the camera. And what I want you to do on 3, I want you to just give us your signature. Here we go. 1. I'm going to use my right hand or left hand. I'll use my left hand today. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Your signature. It's now time for the 2 signature questions of the show. All right, we're back with our 2 signature questions of the show. It's actually 3 questions, but who's counting? 3 questions. Peggy, question number 1. Have you ever had bean pie?
Never.
Do you know what bean pie is?
Not a clue. Tell me about bean pie.
It's a fantasy.
Ah, okay.
Peggy, bean pie is real. It's a pie made of beans. And even
What
here in
kind of
Baltimore,
bean?
it's sold at Safeway here in Baltimore and in certain communities. You may find them on street corners sold by the Nation of Islam. But it's sold at Safeway here. In fact, another grocery chain, Giant Food, now has them as well. Miranda doesn't think bean pie exists. She
I've
thinks
never
it's
seen
a
one.
fallacy.
I've never heard of it.
Although we've had guests on who have, and it's still she's just not buying it. But anyway, we'll solve that issue at some point. All right. How about a Maryland crab cake, Peggy? Have you ever had a Maryland crab cake?
Absolutely. I have
And
had a delicious Maryland crab cake.
and where did you have a Maryland crab cake?
You know, the first time I had a Maryland crab cake, I was really small, and I must have been with my parents driving from Rochester, New York to Washington, D.C. And I remember it because it also came with hush puppies, and I thought they were the best thing I ever tasted.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Sounds like you were somewhere in Maryland.
Oh, yeah.
You had a Maryland crab cake. Okay, because there's many places outside of Maryland call it a Maryland crab cake. That doesn't make it a real Maryland crab cake.
No, this was around Baltimore.
All around Baltimore. Now you're talking about a serious crab cake. No, no, no. Miranda.
All right. So my final question for you, Peggy, is if you could go back in time and tell your 20-year-old self one piece of advice, affirmation, pearl of wisdom, what would it be?
Oh, enjoy the industry. There's so much fun to be had in this particular industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, I don't think as many people know all the opportunities and options that they have in our industry. So, awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being with us and for chatting with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Peggy, for being with us here on Checking In, a Lodging DEI Chat. Miranda, another great show, outstanding guest. Thank you for bringing Peggy to our show.
I'm glad that she had the time. She's a busy lady.
Yeah, this is really cool. Folks, again, thanks for watching Checking In, a Lodging DEI Chat. If you want to see past episodes of Checking In, a Lodging DEI Chat, you go to YouTube, put that name of a show in, Checking In, a Lodging DEI Chat. That's going to pop up there on YouTube. You can go to your favorite podcast platform and listen to shows there. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, you can send me an email. My email address is leon@theleonthomasgroup.com. Miranda, they can get in touch with you by sending you an email or by
just Google me. There's not a lot of Miranda Kitterlin Lynches, as in like there's one, and it's me.
Yeah, you have to be able to find her right there. All right. Thank you, folks. Thanks for watching Checking In, the Lodging DEI Chat. We'll see you next time.